Sorry, had to take a massive conference league in there. What I miss? What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, not much to talk about here. This competition is trash. Honestly, it's the type of game where I almost don't even want most of our starters to play because I feel playing these matches just does nothing. It doesn't train them, it doesn't get them excited and ready for the next game. Maybe for Jackson to get a couple of goals, but they were not hard goals to score. They were gifted to him, basically. I mean, second one, good finish, but still, both of them were gifts from the other team. And the level of the competition that we're playing against, no offense to Djurgarden, that's not good enough. For where we want to be playing, for the talent that we have, this is not challenging our players. So we're not gaining anything from this, really. We should be trying to get Champions League. Playing some of our starting players in these competitions, it just doesn't help. It doesn't get them fired up. It doesn't get them motivated. Most of them drop their level so that they're not playing at the top of their game against teams like Djurgarden or in the last round against Legia. The performances have not been good enough. So what are they getting out of it? I'm not saying play all kids, but I just don't see playing players like Palmer, players like Jackson, players like, I mean, Caicedo's going to work hard no matter what. But you think about the attacking players, they're just not getting much out of this. They drop their levels. The other team's working hard. They'll put 3 to 4 guys on them, and it gets to a point where we don't see them do much of anything. So for Maresca, that was kind of my big issue, is his decision to bring on all these starters in the second half. I'm assuming he's resting some legs like Cucurella, like Fernandez, James maybe, which he's not really been starting James too much, so I don't really know about that. But if this means that Matty Wake is starting on the weekend, then Maresca should just go ahead and turn in his coaching badge because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But I did feel like we should have maybe saved the subs a little bit, maybe gotten another goal, and then brought on some younger players, not brought on all of our starters right at halftime, because it really didn't help. Most of them were well off the pace. They weren't ready to play in this type of environment. The first 15 minutes, we were on the back foot. I was worried we were going to give up a couple because we were just unable to cope with the high pressure, the high intensity, and the passion that the crowd was given to the team. Maresca, I didn't think handled most of that well. I also think the fact that we only brought, I think, 2 youngsters that haven't been or not part of the first team setup. You know, when you think about like Achimpong and George, I think Walsh and Mweka were the only 2 outside of the keepers, of course. But no Roxaki. Can't remember the other. I think there was a defender that's kind of been in and around. Maybe that was earlier in the season. He got loaned in January. I don't know. But it just felt weird that there were only those 2 kids and everybody else were first team, second team, or kid keepers. But quickly going through individuals, Jorgensen in goal. I mean, made a good save at the end of the first half off a deflection, and then made a terrible attempt to save the goal that went in. And this is what I've come to expect out of him. You know, he's better with his feet, kind of, than Sanchez is, but he's not a better shot stopper than Sanchez. And that goal is a great example of it. I mean, he's diving backwards into the goal. That's pathetic. That's a pathetic attempt. The defense, first half, it was Achimpong, Cucurella on the width, and then Tosin and Badiashile. Tosin and Badiashile stayed the whole time. Cucurella went off. Chalaba went in on the right side and pushed Achimpong to the left. I mean, they were all okay, I guess. Some mistakes here and there. Tosin, a couple of missteps. Badiashile, a couple of bad defensive challenges. Achimpong lost track of his man for the goal. Cucurella, for the most part, was fine, which kind of expect that from him at this level of competition. So nobody really stood out as phenomenal, or nobody really stunk up the bed. It was okay all around. I will say, whoever the defensive coach is, I still don't understand why there's been no sort of focus on tracking runners behind you. And there were a couple moments in the first half I'm watching. There's a guy who has the ball on the left side, and he's up against Cucurella one-on-one. And I'm watching as 2 players drift into the box. And Tosin, no idea the guy behind him. He's focused on the guy in front of him. Badiashile, no idea that there's a guy making a run behind him. And maybe they're talking to each other. But the problem is, if they were, we wouldn't have let in so many goals this season from balls over the top in between the 2 defenders, because neither of them are picking up a guy who's just sort of drifted in there. That's always how it looks. The guy who should be winning the header has no idea that there's somebody behind him, and then the defender that's behind the guy doesn't actually track him. He just sees him, and he sees that he's there, but he doesn't actually go with him. It's easy to just send a cross in, and then there's a free header in the box. I don't know who the defensive coach is, but whoever he is, he's not doing his job. Because that goal, once again, complete lack of awareness. Achimpong goes tracking a guy inside, man behind him, no idea he's there. free header back post. And yeah, Jorgensen should do better, but the defensive frailties that we show is ridiculous. In the midfield, it kind of started with James sitting deep and then Dewsbury-Hall and Fernandez getting up and down. Second half, it switched. Caicedo was deeper. Palmer and Dewsbury-Hall were getting up. I mean, James as your pivot is not a good look because he's too slow to be playing in there. And there were several moments whenever, I mean, it was so easy to get through our midfield because he's the only guy in there defensively. Fernandez and Dewsbury-Hall have gone up the pitch, got up in the attack, and then we lose the ball, and now you're relying on James to be your defensive block in there. And he's just not capable of doing it anymore. Might have been back in the past, but now the way he plays, I don't know if it's laziness or if he's just worried about injuring himself, but he looks lazy. And I've complained about how lazy he is before on the ball. But defensively, I mean, he's not capable of doing all that by himself. Made a couple of decent challenges here and there. There are several moments, though, where if it's a free ball, he's not going to be the first one there because he's not turned on or aware to it, and he's not quick enough to get there before another player does. But Dewsbury-Hall, work rate was fine. Quality on the ball, This is about his level, and it showed. Or sometimes he looked good, sometimes he looked bad. I'm still not a big fan of him. He's had a couple of decent games in the past couple of months, but he's just not Premier League quality. Fernandez probably could have done a little bit more. He did get himself an assist for actually, I think he got an assist for both goals. Pretty sure he set up Sancho and Madueke. There are moments whenever he's on the ball that I'm expecting a bit more out of him. I would say I'd expect him 80 to 90% of the time to do something creative with it. And I feel like I more so get it 60 to 70% of the time. And some of that may just be Maresca telling him to keep it safe. Don't be too creative because we don't want to be risky with it. For the quality he has, he's not doing it enough for me personally. I am also very critical, so that could just be my own cynical self. George started up top, then went over to the right. Not great from him, if I'm being honest. You know, he worked somewhat hard, but I really expected a little bit more quality. He started to show some of that quality he has in the past few matches against Fulham. You know, the goal he got against Legia. He has these moments. I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe he's finally starting to get some confidence. We're going to start seeing him grow as a player. And then you get to this match and don't really remember much from him up top. He wasn't helped by what was behind him. You know, you got Sancho and Madueke, who are not the hardest workers, so he's not going to have much help. I still expect him, when he gets on the ball, to be creative with it. It kind of felt like he just didn't really have any ideas tonight. Even when he went out to the right wing, I felt like I've seen him do more than what we saw from him tonight. Don't know if that's just AstroTurf, imposing crowd. He's young, so he's going to have these up and down moments. But I did feel like this was one of his weaker performances, personally. Sancho gets himself a goal. Probably still not going to start on the weekend, though. Granted, he wasn't great tonight, but he still had those creative moments that I think he's shown over the past couple of months since Maresca started benching him for some reason. For Madueke, still not a fan. Gets himself a goal, but it's funny. It actually is a very similar situation to what happened against Everton, which I didn't talk about in the review. But there's just this moment where he gives the ball away way too easily. And it's frustrating. I'm frustrated with him. In this game in particular, I think it actually in both games, I think he went down like he was hurt or he just basically didn't track back, even though the other team was now breaking on us. And then we win the ball back. We get him the ball. In the Everton match, he cuts inside, has this great little run and great shot that Pickford had to make a great save on. This game, we get it back down the field. Fernandez pokes him the ball wide, and he puts it in the back of the net. I don't know. It's like he thrives on those moments whenever he does something stupid or frustrating. He thrives on that because in the next moment, he's going to do something great. And his overall play, for me, is not good enough still. When I look at everything he brings, when I look at his contributions on the ball, when I look at his contributions defensively, all of his game, he's not good enough. And what's sad is he's going to play against Liverpool this weekend. And somebody like Sancho, who defensively, he also doesn't give you too much, but he's going to give you something going forward. He's going to be on the bench once again. Make it make sense. As far as the subs that came on, Palmer, once again, no goal, had a couple of chances. One moment was a good save. A couple of them were just, he should be doing better. It's just this lack of confidence. He's stuck in this rut and he can't get out. Playing him in a match like this, I don't think it's going to give you much. You know the other team is going to put as many guys as they can on him. You know they're going to be defensively solid. They're not going to let him in. Also, he's dropping so deep. Is that an instruction from Maresca? Like, I know he wants to get on the ball and make things happen, but I feel like he's not getting in and around the box as much these days. I don't know if that's something that's changed in the system or if he just wants to get on the ball more now because he's lacking this confidence and he feels like he needs to get on the ball to make things happen. I don't know. But it definitely feels like we're not seeing him get on the ball around the box as much anymore. It's going to continue probably for a little while, and probably will until we get a manager who can inspire confidence in a young player, because Maresca obviously can't. Jackson gets himself 2 goals. He worked hard, did okay. Nothing spectacular. Second half was kind of drab, to be honest. It started poor. Djurgarden just absolutely going at us, and we're not ready for that sudden change of pace. And then after we got the 2 goals, just kind of drab. We kept a lot of possession in the back, got the ball down the field a couple of times, but then went backwards with it. It was just meh. Chalaba and Caicedo as well, they just came on and did their jobs okay. Chalaba maybe could have done a little bit better in the moments leading up to the goal, because he was the one that was one-on-one with the guy over on the right side before the cross came in. And all he did is really poke it away. Feels like he could have done a little bit more to try to win the ball, or to try to get the ball further out instead of just a little poke that sets up for the guy to run in. But if there is one positive that I will take out of this match, I know it's funny to say that in a 4-1 victory, but let's be honest. I mean, that's the bare minimum. Winning by 3 is the bare minimum. I know that sounds really harsh to say, but that's what we should expect. And honestly, clean sheet should have been the other expectation. We failed that one. The one positive is debut for a young 16-year-old, and don't know much about him. Reggie Walsh, don't know really anything about where he is in the U18s, where he is as far as quality, but it's an exciting moment for him. Come on in the Conference League, get a nice shot away for your first touch. The keeper had to make a decent save. It actually kind of, I don't know if it unsighted him or something, but he didn't even make that great of a save. It was kind of like a reaction, had to palm it away. It's good. It's a good moment for him, and those are always good moments in games like this where you're playing lower opposition, to get those kids on and get them their debuts. Always really exciting for him. All in all, I mean, this game was it was not that exciting. It was the bare minimum we should expect. And again, not keeping a clean sheet is very disappointing. But the real focus is we should be getting Champions League next year. The idea that Man U or Tottenham could get Champions League and we might not, it's just embarrassing to me. So anyways, with all that being said, those are my thoughts on the game today. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. Also check out the channel. We have a lot of other reviews on here as well, some Let's Plays, so check those out if you have time. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you all later. Peace out.